What's going on, folks? I am Goat. Welcome back to Warframe. I want to show at least a tail end of the survival. We're going to play against an acolyte really quick, and I'm going to discuss the title of this video, being how to not overwhelm new players. Now, before I hit unpause here, new players, for the most part, have a tendency to kind of leisurely walk into missions. No need for really active play styles for the most part, because just a few mods makes you very survivable towards, most of your basic star chart enemies up until you get around like Pluto and Sedna and, the Sanctum Anatomica and the Zeraman and things like that. Okay, maybe even, the higher tier of the Void. But for the most part, most of the base star chart, once you get a few mods, survivability really isn't a problem. So you tend to play like this.
When you are ready, go to extraction.
Speaking of the Acolyte. Okay, not being horribly active, we're just doing some melee stuff. What's this motherfucker? Fuck off. Now, new players are obviously not popping that kind of crazy ass damage and just going, let me one tap this enemy out of existence and make that fucker wish they never spawned. And for any new player that comes into this, you're gonna be like, what the fuck is an acolyte? If they haven't done any research on the game whatsoever and they've literally just kind of blindly started playing like I did, they're gonna be like, well, what the hell is an acolyte? My god. Hardcore, man. It's a thing. It's a thing I'm failing at tonight horribly. Christ.
As you conquer the foe, so you conquer yourself.
Look, standing there, because like the first fucking 45 seconds was me just twiddling my dick in a fucking room. Literally, I forgot to, well, not forgot, I paused the thing and started setting up the recording stuff. So it was like 45 seconds of just me standing there. So take 45 seconds off of that, basically 6 minutes and 40 or 6 minutes 50 seconds of just sheer screwing around, waiting for the acolyte to show up. Not astounding numbers. 460 kills in 6 minutes and 40 seconds. It's nothing to just absolutely blow your mind on. But I could have stood there and just let the acolyte beat the living shit out of me. Now, to cover first and foremost, what the fuck is an acolyte, right? Like, what the fuck is an acolyte? An acolyte... Actions. Let's see here. I always forget where the fuck them pricks are. Not working. Not those. Here we go. Stalkers. So, for anybody who doesn't understand what the hell an acolyte is the stalker. Just acolytes of the stalker, so followers of the stalker. And yes, as you see, there are 3 types of just regular old stalker. This is the first stalker you run into in the game. Once you do the second dream, the fucker turns into the shadow stalker, and once you do Jade Shadows, then the fucker turns into the protector stalker, and I will let you figure out how that happens if you are a new player. But when you get to the steel path, then all of a sudden you get a few other dickheads that like to show up and try to run your fucking day. And if you just understand kind of their base thing, you're fine. Violence is typically the largest pain in the ass of all of them because violence uses Banshee's silence ability and turns off all of your abilities. It's the same thing that you do to Eximus in the game by using Banshee's silence ability. It stops Eximus from casting abilities. It also stops Acolytes from casting abilities. So if you have silence cast, violence is basically useless as shit other than coming up and trying to melee your ass. Angst is a melee frame. Malice is like Mag coupled with the Opticore Vandal, which is really not fun. Malice is the other one. Kind of tends to get people. Mania and Misery are both just annoying because they'll, which one is it? Elusive and Deadly. Really? That's the description? Zealous and Patient. Yeah, that's the Necros knockoff. This is the Loki knockoff. Torment's the Hydroid knockoff. Malice is the Mag knockoff. Violence is... they're all a mix of different frames. But one of these two fuckheads has Zephyr's Turbulence ability, so it can deflect all of your projectiles, forcing you to melee the bastard. you know, making things interesting. So the fact that, you know, you can literally just one tap one of these pricks in the game is kind of a feat in itself. At early level Steel Path, not so much if you're built right. But what do we do as Warframe players? Because first and foremost, I want to preface this by saying this is probably one of the most helpful and beneficial communities I have ever had the pleasure of being a part of. We have one bad habit. Not all of us, but we have one bad habit. And that is we like to feed information. Too much information sometimes, but we like to feed information. I'm sorry, my allergies are going at the moment, so if I sound a whole bunch of clearing my throat or sinusy, my bad. But we're going to come down here, and we're going to look at... use mag. Okay? Yeah. Let's just come over here, and we'll just find old base mag here, right? And we'll even go for basic bitch mag. Just nice little noble animation. We're just going to stand here. We're not looking at that. Basic bitch mag, not basic bitch weapons. I mean, like dojo weapons, sister of Parvos weapon, sister of Parvos weapon, you know, basic bitch stuff. Okay. Now I want to cover this. This is a somewhat unattainable build for a new player, but this is crap that we're going to tell new players that they need, right? So this is a more attainable build. Now, I previously set this up because I've actually shot this video one other time, and I decided to approach it a little differently. Because what we're going to tell people is, oh man, you got to get your hands on Arcane Energize. You'll never have energy, or you'll rarely have energy economy problems at that point. Man, you really need adaptation. It just, you know, helps, you know, give you more EHP, by deflecting or, you know, adapting to damage, kind of like sentience and, you know, so on and so forth. You know, oh, you need this augment. What do you do for a solo player who has no idea what the fuck a dojo is and just happens to step into region chat, right? Worst fucking place possible. You know, recruiting chat's not so bad, but region chat, bruh. You're going to start getting all sorts of wild information. YouTube videos are going to start giving you all sorts of wild information as far as what the hell is going to work for you. Now, I want to preface this by saying that if you are fortunate enough to join into a dojo, right? Join into a clan that is well established, has all, if not at least most of the weapons and, you know, gear and stuff like that built, and some very helpful players in the clan, good on you. That's a good thing to do, especially early game. It's kind of, early game is really what you want to do. You want to be a part of a clan, even if that clan has interesting prerequisites. Hit me the fuck up at Goat80 if you are not a fan of having to be a high-functioning Warframe player. I will get you in my goddamn clan because I don't have those insane-ass prereqs. You come into my fucking clan and you do you. You be as active or inactive as you want to be. I don't shit on anybody for that. But something my clan does, and this goes for a lot of clans that at least that I've had direct contact with, is that a mod like this that is unattainable for a base Star Chart player, early player especially, an augment mod like this, a Hall of Ascension mod like this, these three mods alone are kind of a pain in the butt. At least these two. Until the people, you know, get past the second dream, this is unattainable. Until you beat the base Star Chart, this is unattainable. This is just working syndicates. You can easily get this mod just by working the syndicates and working through the flow of the grind of the game. Okay? Every other mod in this game, this comes from Nightwave, incentivizing using it, and it has absolutely no purpose to the build other than giving you more points so you don't have to use Forma. Forma polarizes a slot and cuts the points in half. This doubles the points, this halves the points. So this good to match, this good to match. Just makes everything all around better. But we tell people, Arcane Energize, right? Let's just get a moment here. It is 2:40 in the morning, so the market is probably going to lie. But God help it, A lot of new players do not know about Warframe.market. I will say that again. Warframe.market. Do it. Okay? Just do it. Not quantity. Rank. Looks stupid. So at the present moment, what the fucking hell is this thing doing? I'm sorry, the market is being stupid. Thank you. The cheapest, the absolute cheapest, rank 5 out of 5. Excuse me, Arcane Energize. Now, granted, you don't need a rank 5, but a rank 5 is the best way to go. The cheapest at 240 in the morning, which is a slow time, is 420 plat. And they go as high as, oh, let's see here, 2,000. 3,000, 3,090. Those motherfuckers ain't never gonna sell that shit. Like, we'll go to more of the day players who are offline right now. The day players selling rank 5 out of 5. Let's see, what's the cheapest one? 401. Okay, and that's somebody who has one copy. Another one that has one copy, 410. Then 430 with one copy. 450 with one copy, and everybody else above that is 500 plus platinum to get that arcane. That is unfucking believably out of the realm of possibility, unless somebody is doing pay to play. Which, if you're doing pay to play, you ain't gonna get no knock from me. That's on you. If you're trying to avoid some of the grind of the game because you got a motherfucking life, or you just don't want to invest that much time, it's your money. You ain't gonna get no goddamn judgment from me. And if you do get plat, Warframe.market, you can get every fucking thing you need in a build. Okay? 100% get everything that you need. That's fine. But this build right here works on Steel Path. Okay? So we're going to go and use the basis of Mastery 8. Okay? Under normal circumstances, a Mastery 8 is going to have access to, well, they're definitely going to have access to the Cedo. Oh, let's see, what do I want to use here, man? Something that's not bonkers. Something that's not fucking absolutely just mind-breaking. Well, that's a Fortuna grind, but that's usable. And then a Dojo Glaive, right? So, just to show, Arcane Energize is a thing. And then I'm going to explain how I get to the other build, okay? So, we're using mags-based kit, so no helmet, no Archon shards, no nothing crazy here, okay? This is if you have the possibility of clanmates who are willing to trade you some stuff. Willing to assist with a little endo spending to help rank up a bigger mod like adaptation, because the more dots, the more endo it costs you, and it's a problem. And if somebody is super fucking cool, which is a big ask, that's a lot of plat that somebody can get. So, but occasionally you come across a real nice motherfucker. I've done it a few times with a few of my clan members, giving maxed out fucking Arcane Energize, Arcane Grace, Arcane Reaper during events, get a couple copies for them, and it's like, okay, cool, especially when you could still do a couple of copies. Hall of Ascension mods like Power Drift. But this all fits without doing crazy level of investments, right? So let's just show with these weapons, okay? These weapons, that build, these are all attainable, I believe, at... Oh, I know the Cedo's Mastery 8. I believe the Compressa is 8 or 10. I'm going to primarily stick with the Cedo and the Serrata, because the Serrata is available at Mastery 8 through the dojo as well. It's in the biolab. It's an infested glaive. But it works. So, big thing is OP with Zeneric, but you can also just do bougie pads. So, energy pizzas, large squad of energy drops, and you can just buff yourself up this way. Multiple ways of doing this. I have thousands of these built, so it's not like cut my nuts off at all. But as you see down the bottom right here, I cap out at 380 energy, which can be a problem. Now this is mid-tier steel path. Okay, as far as like just casual gameplay, this is like level 120, level
They have
125.
just shut down all systems. I'm sending life support capsules your way.
Look, they all broken. Again, this is base mag. You know, this is dojo weapon. Oh, look, I fell down. Oh no, I fell down. Boom. Excuse me. How about we do this? Yoink. Bubble. Armor strip. Have a nice day. Everybody dies. Stand in bubble. They can't hurt me as bad. Like all their little bullets just get yanked, just get yoinked into here. Hey, you stop that. Then the bubble explodes and dings them up a little bit, and they don't like life. It's a good time. And again, I'm using, you know, the first fucking sentinel that you can get your hands on the game, which is Taxon, which helps boost your shields with a mod that comes with Taxon. Okay? I mean, like, I'm not doing anything insane here, aside from Arcane Energize, but again, with the Xmas, you know, actually having a higher spawn rate, it makes it to where, you know, getting energy isn't as big of a problem as it used to be with certain frames. There's some frames that you have to get super spammy with, and I'm not saying that this build is going to carry you into high-level content. It's not. You're going to get your ass smoked. But for doing casual steel path, I'd say we're doing good, mater. And they just don't like it. Shoot your stuff. Look here, see, compressor. I want to say it's mastery 10. But see, like the compressor, it's rude, you know. And yes, there's a reason why it's popping red crits. See, this is what happens. We give information, we say, oh my god, you must have this, right? And they look at this and they go, hell yeah, I need this. No sapping energy from me, please. Now, are you going to have all the mods to make the weapons quite this punchy? Probably not. But again, trade chat, you know, helpful dojo, people giving good information on farming stuff, Wikipedia, big help. No, but you see, like, one thing I'm doing is I'm really trying very hard not to be sitting here just standing still like a dum-dum baby. Because unlike the base star chart, excuse me, come here now. Fine. Of course, the Jade Xmas is going to show up try to fuck my day up. Really? So, I mean, obviously, somebody's saying, oh, you need these. I'd say it's quite apparent that it's not untrue. You know, like, you can obviously see the benefit that I am, you know, getting energy orbs. I am, you know, not dying. Big helpful factor. So watch this. Oink. With some energy, you know, with some range. I don't have, like, perfect range to the build, obviously. No form of that does kind of limit a few things. Oh, where's this bitch at? Excuse me. You need to die. Thank you. See, look, I have extra energy orbs on the ground. We're doing good. Bubble of doom. You know, we're keeping up with the life supports. And see, look, just like I said, Malice. Here comes Malice. Malice is going to try to booger our day up. Now, Malice shows up and you get the warbles. Dodge roll. Now, we're going to do the same bullshit to him. Hi, Malice. Now you have a bubble of death. Here, fuck this bitch. Now he has no armor.
Keep up the good work. Extraction is available if you need it.
See, so we just two-tapped Malice by armor stripping the prick and calling it good. But again, this is with the, oh my god, you have to have this. You really need this. You really need that. Now, this is no knock towards the community because I love you fuckers. I love every one of you motherfuckers. I love to help people. You are my people. Like, this is the let me sing you the song of my people kind of moment, you know? But we do have a really bad habit of scaring the bejesus out of players by saying, oh man, you gotta have this, gotta have that, gotta have this, and then people go to the wiki or they listen to our advice of saying, holy Christ, we have to have this. And then they start looking at farming locations and it scares the crap out of them.
Learn the importance of clarity and purpose.
It's a real thing. It sucks because we're just trying to be helpful, but we're overloading information, right? So let's walk through the other build, the feasible build. Now, this is very much more a base star chart build, but this is an available base star chart build. And let's talk about Nightwave really quick, because doing Nightwave, when you complete whatever missions are available to you, you go to cred offerings down here in the bottom, okay? And you go over to mods. Now, right now, there's only, in this week's cycle, loot detector, not a bad one. EMP aura, EMP aura is kind of a crappy stance, but there's always going to be somewhere between 2 and 4 stances with Nora. So saving your cred for when those are helpful is good. Because almost, I would say 80% of the auras in this game are available through Nightwave. There's a few of them that, like, you know, come from the Silver Grove, which is another quest. You got to beat the quest and then go back and farm the specters there. Just saying. But let's look at the more feasible build. And I'm going to bust down exactly where this, you know, well, not exactly, but the ease of function behind this build. Okay? And why it is ranked the way it is, by the way. So, most newer players don't have access to arcanes yet. Again, if you're a pay-to-player, different story. You're going to have access to, you know, platinum, which means you can buy arcanes, you can buy Axelis adapters if you don't feel like farming them. There's a lot of options. But your normal, just play to win, you know, we're not spending real money on the game. I get you too. Regular mod drop, regular mod drop, regular mod drop, regular mod drop, Cetus bounty drop, first open world that you go to. Okay? Not a difficult one to get. Regular mod drop, regular mod drop, regular mod drop, Nightwave. No arcanes, no nothing. Now, how do we know that this build is going to work? And why, oh why, is redirection and vitality both only ranked halfway up? Because at halfway, I believe it's like 360 or 310 endo to get to this point. Okay? Not a lot. Not a lot to farm through missions. It's not going to be really anything more that you spend on any of these other mods to rank them up than to get these to rank 7. And on the base star chart, I promise you, this is all you're going to need. Because you can constantly keep regenning your shields with her 4th ability. Okay? But how do we know this build works? Well, you don't technically need steel charge, so whatever aura that you happen to come across in Nightwave that, you know, happens to be a Matter Eye. You know, like, everybody gets Dreamer's Bond. You can put that in there. That's not a bad option at all. It's universal, doesn't give you as much points, but it does give you health regen and energy regen. Both are very, very good, especially when you don't have arcanes and you don't have focus schools unlocked yet. Something that is beneficial, okay? But how do we get to this build and look at this and go, okay, this works? Well, for one, her energy pool sucks. Okay, her base energy is 190. Okay, so yeah, 190 energy. If you're running Streamline, one of your abilities costs 70. Okay, the grouping, one of the 2 functional killer, like this is the killer grouping ability and the save your butt, because you get a little bit of a let's just call it dodge function, some invulnerability because you're inside of the big green bubble, or whatever colors you choose. Bullets don't hit you as much. So, but this is a nice little, small magnetic area, and then this is the yoinking ability, which the more range you have, the more that works. Okay, but let's look at the ability. So her passive, right? Nearby items gravitate towards mag for easy collection. This is how you learn how to tinker. Okay, first and foremost, you look at every single function of a frame. Okay, and this is how you know what the fuck you need. Okay, so let's just ditch this whole fucking build. Okay, we're going to stay with the aura because it doesn't matter. So we're at base health, base shields, base energy, base everything. Okay, so again, this is basically like a vacuum function of what a sentinel will do. If you don't have a sentinel yet, this is helpful. Okay, it's not great, but it's helpful enough for you to not have to sit there and run around and pick up, items that are sitting close to you. Pull is a simple grouping ability that does a very low amount of magnetic damage. It's got a decent range. 25 meters is a decent range. It's a little hiccupy with levels per se, so you kind of tend to have to jump or slide into down staircases and stuff, because sometimes it doesn't grab all the enemies, but it's solid enough. It's pretty decent for one of the grouping abilities. If there's obstacles like fences and shit like that, that's going to be a problem because people will get stuck on those. So you jump above the fence and then yoink them over the fence. Just saying. But this is the first ability. What does it want? It's doing damage, so ability strength may be in there. Now you can see by the strength numbers that I had on the build before, you'll see why. Okay, like obviously I had ability strength, but we're just looking at what it does. So it has range and it has damage. Damage usually scales by ability strength. Second ability, I will just tell you that the tap ability of magnetize is really the only thing you want to worry about. The hold ability is just like some Kamehameha bullshit that fizzles out like a dud black cat. Okay, it's just use the tap ability. Just forget that the fucking hold ability does a thing and just tap it. Because if you do the hold, you're going to be walking around doing this swirly bullshit like fucking like Doctor Strange, and you're going to end up getting a bullet in your ass as soon as you let that motherfucker go. But magnetize is a really functional ability because it basically, you can enclose an enemy with all the bullets that just keep hitting them, and then the thing releases its shrapnel damage and does a little bit of, damage outward towards enemies. Okay? So what does it want? It wants duration, maybe. It wants range, and it wants strength. Now, duration's a question mark. Is it worth it to put duration into this ability, or is it worth it just to kind of let it run its own course of time of 15 seconds and then dissipate to nothing? Because we've got no duration here, right? No duration there. Polarize. Again, we've got radius, so we have range. Okay? We have damage, probably ability strength, and then a damage multiplier. Typically scales off of ability strength. Okay, and then we have a duration. Now, this duration, I can tell you just by what it does, it pulses outwards, hits enemies, and gives you a damage multiplier. So, just saying. Pretty functional ability. And then Crush. Crush wants range. Crush wants damage. Okay, that's it. So we got two abilities that have duration. Okay, and then we have all four want at least range and strength. Now, as you can see by the initial build duration, I didn't mod for it at all. I didn't in any way. What I did mod for was, like I said, obviously, mod that you can get in the game. Doesn't take a whole lot to rank up. Energy. The other thing that we definitely want is efficiency. Because the energy pool sucks being at 380, if you want to spend 100 energy on casting this, you'll get 3 casts and pray like hell that there's energy orbs around you. It's a bit of a problem. So we want efficiency. Now it only costs 70. This only costs 52.5. This only costs 35. This only costs 17.5. You dramatically reduce your amount just with a single streamline mod. So, do we want duration? Did I mod for duration? No, I did not. I did not mod for duration at all. Now, the Cetus mod, right? Convert, excuse me, convert plus 45% of damage on health to energy. Given your energy pool, this is kind of how you get around not having arcanes. It's not a perfect fix, but shields don't stop all incoming damage. Okay, hence why the first build had adaptation on it to help you adapt to damage it gets through the shields. But if you should take health damage, even if it's just a few points, this helps convert 45% of that damage on health to more energy. Okay, so this is a really, really good one to have. And again, Cetus bounties. Intensify, not a difficult one to get either. Ability strength. Plain and simple, that's just what it does, right? Just ability strength. So, Vazarin, another simple one. Mag is a shield-based frame. As you noticed, shield per enemy hit. Okay? 32.5 shields for every enemy that you lift and crush. Meaning that this 555 goes up a hell of a lot when you start doing the zoomy zooms on people and lifting them up and crushing them. Hence why we had Fast Deflection. Not a difficult mod to get in any fucking way, shape, or form. And it works. Okay? It absolutely fucking works because it gives you, more recharge and faster recharge. So less delay for the shields to recharge. So if your shields break and you have to cast your 4 again, this helps them recharge quicker while you're trying to get the cast done. Okay? Now, health and shields. This is the big thing that you don't have to do. Okay? Is it beneficial to Mag to add more shields into the equation? Yes. I don't know why I was in that focus school. Other than I'm stupid. Because, yeah, there's a lot of mods that y'all ain't going to have. But let's go for the cheap variant of what this is going to cost. So we're adding shields. So we went from 555 to 858. And yes, there is an overshield cap, but you get 32.5 per enemy hit, so that's just going to increase your survivability. Steel fiber is armor. You've got 105 armor here. Okay, even if I put a maxed motherfucker on here, 210, not worth it. I see people running steel fiber all the time, and you feel like, oh man, I'm going to get damage reduction this way. Really? 41.2. It ain't like, it's damage reduction, but I mean, anything sub 50% is just basically wasting a mod slot, in my opinion. And again, we're going to go with I don't know why I have 2 7-point fucking vitalities, but here we are. Yeah, so we got that, right? And then we want one other thing, range. And again, not hard to get your hands on. Definitely not hard to get your hands on. I don't know why I put this motherfucker on to begin with, but here we are. This is how you get a functional base path build. A mod that's given to you. A mod that you can easily farm in the first open world that you go to. And then all the rest of these are shit that drops in this situation. And the way that we figured this out is to just look at what the hell the kit does and find out, okay, now we're doing a little bit more magnetic damage, but as you see, by putting 30% more ability strength on there, we got a whopping 90 fucking damage, or 40 damage, because it was doing 350. So, obviously, it's not going to output that much no matter how much ability strength you put into that. Magnetize, we're still sticking with the 15-second duration, because honestly, the duration isn't a huge deal. Worth testing, if you think that it might be. But now we've increased the explosion radius. We've increased the damage again from 350 to 390. Not incredibly impressive, but it's fine. We've given a targeted radius of 5.8 meters, so that's up. A damage multiplier of 2.6. And then, yeah, so there's that. Polarized, we're now up to 3.25 instead of, I think it was 2.5 for the damage multiplier. Plus, we've increased the radius to 11.6, and then now we're up to 32.5, like I showed, 32.5 shields per enemy struck, and a radius of 26.1 meters, so bigger area to pick up more people. And we're doing all this with no arcanes, no Exila slot, no investment of Forma of any kind. And this will get you through the base star chart. Will you struggle going to the steel path? Of course. Yeah, of course. But this is completely from the base star chart and what you get just by logging into the fucking game and doing one bounty, doing a bounty on the first open world that you get to. And you can make this happen and cheese the shit out of, the system. But I'm sure that probably to any newer player that's looking at this is going, yeah, but how do I know this? Right? How do we know this? Well, it's basically a step of investigation. Okay, we've investigated what Mag's kit does, so we investigate what the mods do. The mod 100% energy max, right? So we went from 190 to 380. So we've increased by 100%. Fast deflection, shield recharge minus shield recharge delay. Redirection gives us shield capacity. Vitality gives us health. That's the wild card. You don't necessarily need it, but only 280 health is a little bit of a sketchy point. It's up to you on if you want to run it or not. Streamline, ability efficiency. Stretch, ability range. Intensify, ability strength. And then Hunter Adrenaline. The secondary function is a thing, but the first function, the converting damage into energy, is very helpful on a frame that you could potentially get a little spammy with. Now, the companion, Taxon and Artax. I specifically put these on here because Taxon, doesn't matter what the hell the rest of this build is, okay? Taxon has one mod that will absolutely help you. Blast enemies within 10 meters, converting 200 damage into shields for the Warframe. Put this thing in the top left because the way the mods work is top left to right and then bottom left to bottom right. So it's kind of like this. Okay, so in order of appearance. And the mods with the little line and dash are called precept mods. Okay, here, I'll prove it. Precept. Okay, preset mods function in order of appearance. So, yeah. This just helps, excuse me, boost the shields even more if they run out. But again, that's an easy one to get. Calculated redirection drops quite a bit. Granted, is that a lot? Yeah, it's going to be just like ranking up, redirection and enhanced vitality. You put however much you can afford to put in there. Vacuum is a broader function of Mag's passive, so good time. Don't worry about the bond mod. Don't worry about coolant leak. If you get shield charger, great. If you just get regular regen, great. Because it's just a reduction in the recovery time of the Sentinel because they don't die permanently all the time. You build this however you want to. But these two mods specifically, first of all, this motherfucker comes with the with the Sentinel, and this one drops like cottonwood flying through the air in springtime, okay? Like, it's just a thing. High survivability. The Artax is just a cold weapon. Okay, so it just slows enemies down and increases, critical damage, but that's neither here nor there early gameplay. But this is just this is an overwhelming amounts of information. It may sound like it, and if it does, I'm sorry, because I'm not trying to, perpetuate a cycle here. But I'm just basically giving a base explanation of, what these mods do, how they work in conjunction with this build, okay, with the kit, and how it will benefit you, and how to save, from investing too much in bad places and then going, well, fuck, why did I do that? Is there stuff you can change? Yes, of course there is. Always, 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 always. Is there a bunch of mods here that you don't have? Yeah. 100% Like, what if you want duration, right? What if you want duration instead of, shield regen? Well, that's when you take ability duration. I said shield duration, but ability duration. What if you want ability duration instead of that shield recharge, or if you want it more than health? Test it out. Don't be afraid of the modding system, because the modding system is a crazy son of a bitch to wrap your head around. But when you look at it, it starts to make sense as long as you're looking at what the kit of the frame does. And that's where things get crazy, because I did a video not too long ago basically saying what frames have really replaced other frames, right? And the truth of that is that each frame does something a little bit different. Hello, as my phone goes off. So each frame does something a little bit different, and some do similar things to each other, but they don't do the same. Some frames heal, right? Some frames just give healing. Boom, that's it. There's like 3 at a bare minimum that just give healing. It's just what they do. Some frames give energy. Those are good frames to have around. There's at least 3 of those that do that. As far as just by an ability, just poof, here, you have energy, being what, Stynex and Haro and Trinity, those 3 alone. Some frames assist with energy orbs. That's really helpful. Energy and health orbs both, honestly. But there are so many good ways that you can build a frame. And like, there's another one, 100% that you can get away and not do fast deflection, right? 100% stay the hell away from fast deflection. Okay, equilibrium. Because again, if you've got like a Citrine or a Varuna, or a Lavos in your group, they're going to be dropping either universal orbs, health orbs, or energy orbs, all of which apply to what this does, feeding you more energy, and that coupled with Hunter Adrenaline is really going to make you like never run out of energy. So the shield regen really doesn't even start factoring into being a thing. That's just kind of a helpful in case your shields get fucked up and you're kind of slow at casting. But, and again, this one not hard to get either. It's really not. Hell, you can get the flawed one from, well, you got to do Chains of Haro, but you can get the flawed one from after you do the Chains of Haro quest, and you can just get the flawed one and it'll at least do something. It's an assisting mod. Do I dare suggest that you buy the flawed one? No, I actually own every flawed mod in the game just as a joke. But these are just all things that, as established Warframe players, we just automatically go, oh man, you gotta have this, gotta have that, gotta have this. And the problem is that we all have a terrible habit, and I am just as guilty as everybody else. We say, you need this to survive. But we got a bad habit of explaining why that is. And it's just like, that's kind of, that's the thing. Because it's not wrong. We've all done it, okay? We have 100% all done it. I don't tell you. I mean, like, it can be a problem. We're not trying to overwhelm you. We're not trying to scare players off, because honestly, any real dedicated player to Warframe doesn't want to scare off new players. There's an imbalance to some of the changes that DE does to the game that makes it to where, like, they seem to be more new player friendly than veteran player, and truthfully, some people will complain about it. I usually don't. The reason being is because I like having more new players in the game. Keeps the game fresh, keeps the game going, gives me people I can help, gives, the whole community, people that we can, run with and see different play styles, and just like, see, I love watching reckless players, okay? Because I remember the days when I was horribly reckless. I'd just run in a room like a Kool-Aid man, get my ass shot off. We all do it, okay? We do it. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it at all. It's how we learn from it, right? It's how we ask the questions. And then it's also how we answer the questions, which is what's going to come up in the next video. How do we answer those questions? So that's it for this video. I hope this, maybe gives a little clarity to, looking at what the mods do in comparison to what a frames kit does, and don't let it feel overwhelming, because it doesn't have to be. Okay, it really doesn't. Damage output with weapons, same kind of thing. You just find the best mod that fits the equation, and you will get to a point, and then you'll hit a wall, and you'll be like, okay, well, now I gotta go farm this. But you'll continually grow as long as you play to the perks of what you're trying to use, right? So, but that's what I got for now. So folks, I want to thank you very much for watching. As always, catch you in the next one, all right?